Today in the sartorial kitchen, I'm throwing a Spanish-style tapas party at my friend Ruth's house. Kicking things off it is my spicy meatballs and a spicy mole sauce. Then I'm doing a Spanish version of a charcuterie with an assortment of cheeses, cured meats, fruits, and homemade crackers. I also did a veggie tray with a zesty ranch, bacon-wrapped dates. I brought some olives, almonds, jam, and other accoutrements. My friend Tex took some of the olive brine and updated a classic dirty martini. And then I made a white sangria with Moscato, triple sec, and frozen fruit. So why don't you pull up a chair and dine with me? Everybody, got a big menu for you today. I'm doing a tapas party at my friend Ruth's. I can't do a season without cooking with my friends, and I thought this would be a really fun kind of party food thing. So what I'm doing right now, I'm prepping some meatballs. So I'm going to do a big crock pot of meatball stewing in a mole sauce of sorts. So I'm just starting with a couple eggs. Just give that a little beat. And then we can come in with our meat. I got some ground pork and I got some ground beef. You can use any kind of ground meat you like. You can use chicken, you can use turkey, you can use lamb, but I thought the pork and beef would be good for this preparation. So just kind of dump that in there. I like meatballs, meatloaves. You can dump pretty much anything you want. Flavor it however you like. And then let's get this other guy here. All right, that's pretty good. Now let's season this baby. I'm also going to add a splash of milk to this. About a 4th cup or so. That's just gonna help keep everything nice and moist. And then I'm gonna come in here with about a 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs. That's gonna help hold everything together. And then I've got a bunch of different seasonings here. So, of course, I like to start with some salt and pepper. So I'm gonna do about a teaspoon and a half of salt, which sounds like a lot, but this is a lot of meat, and it really needs all the seasoning it can get. I'm gonna do a teaspoon of pepper. Some Mexican oregano. About a teaspoon of that, and I just kind of rub it between my fingers to get those oils going. Some ground cumin. A couple teaspoons of my ground cumin, and about a 1/2 teaspoon of some cayenne for some heat. Then I'm going to come in here with some of my jarred garlic, a couple teaspoons of that, and then some minced onion or dehydrated onion. I like the minced onion because the moisture from all of this kind of reconstitutes it, and then you just have those thin onion pieces instead of cutting an onion whole and trying to mince it yourself. This is much better. And yeah, just a couple, maybe tablespoon and a half more thing here I want to add. This is some queso blanco. I'm going to be whipping some of this up for charcuterie that I'm doing, but I thought this would be fun to have in the meatballs as well. Kind of like when you're doing Italian meatballs, you have Parmesan. And this, I just want to crumble it up so it's little pieces of it. I don't want too big of chunks. And I'm just going to do about 1/3 of this. I'm going to whip the rest of that up to have a soft cheese component for my charcuterie. Just kind of give that a little squeeze, and then you can just kind of rub it between your fingers and it crumbles up. One of those times you can really play with your food. All right, then I got some gloves here. And then we're just going to come in here and mash this all together. So I just kind of massage the meat. I want the pork and that ground beef to incorporate nicely. And then just kind of turn it over on itself. Incorporate all those flavors that we tossed in here. I don't want to overwork the meat because I don't want it to be tough, so I'm just kind of gently massaging that until it's well combined. And I think we are ready to divvy this up. All right, so I got a little sheet pan out. I got my mini ice cream scoop. So I don't want these to be too big. They should be appetizer size. And I'm going to bake these off in the oven, so I'm just going to get a nice little scoop and plop it right on here. I want to space them a little bit apart from each other. I want these to get nice and browned and not really steam. If you crowd them too close together, they're just going to steam. They're not going to get a lot of color on it. And And just like that, until I've got this sheet pan filled up. All right, I finished scooping these out and rolled them together, and I ended up with about 60 total. I think that should be more than enough for the guest. I'm gonna throw these in my oven that I have preheated to 400 degrees, and they're gonna cook for about 25 to 30 minutes, just until they're cooked through. I don't want them too done, because they're gonna stew some a while longer in my mole sauce. And speaking of mole sauce, I've already got that started. These are peppers that I've roasted, very similar to the sofrito I did for that chili in my premiere, but I also added some onions, some tomatoes, and some nice roasted garlic. So I'm gonna go ahead and break this down, and then to turn it into a mole sauce, I have some other fun ingredients to add, which I will be showing you as soon as I get this ready. All right, I finished breaking down the peppers. Now for my garlic, doesn't that look gorgeous? So when you roast it, I just slid off the top end, covered it in a good amount of olive oil and a little bit of salt, and then wrapped it in foil. And then it's almost like butter. It just slides right out. This is a great way for like making aiolis or like a garlic pasta sauce, because you really enhance those flavors. Oh guys, this smells so good. Okay, so we got that. I'm also going to add some honey here. It's going to add a little sweetness. A couple tablespoons. I've got some tahini. This is left over from another cook that I did. But you can use any kind of nut butter you like. Almond butter, cashew butter. I'm going to do about a half cup there. And then I've got a bar of some dark chocolate. Now if you can find like that hardtack kind of Mexican dark chocolate, that's traditional for this, but I can only do what I can do. I'm just kind of breaking it up into pieces. It's going to kind of melt when we do our broth, and this broth I've been simmering on the stove for a while now, similar to the broth I did last time. This one's got some cloves in it, some Mexican oregano, of course the cinnamon and the bay leaves. And that's why I left the gloves on, because I don't want chocolate all over my hands. And then we'll add some of our broth and puree this up. I'm just going to come in here initially and give it a little pulse, just to break some of this up. Some of those peppers get nice and juicy to roast and cook down. I didn't need too much stock. I've already got a little bit of liquid for that. Okay, then I'm going to come in here and add about the first cup of my stock. I may not even use all of this. Oh yeah, that looks great, guys. Get rid of you. And I think our meatballs are ready to come out. Oh yeah, nice and singed. Those look amazing, guys. Yeah, awesome. So I'm just gonna put these into my sauce carefully. And then that's all going to go into a crock pot, and it'll be ready to go to Ruth's, and I will see you guys there. All right, guys, we're at Ruth's. As you can see, I have been busy. In addition to the meatballs, I prepped a whole bunch of stuff here. So I got some veggies or charcuterie, meats and cheeses. That's a crudité. I made a little zesty ranch for the veggies. Bacon wrapped dates. Some homemade crackers for the charcuterie, and I will show you how I put those together right now. First, I took a cup of cornmeal and a cup of flour and stirred that together. Then I added a little salt, some dried oregano, and some grated cheese, and combined that with the mixture. Then I added in 3 tablespoons of butter, about 3/4 cup of warm water, and I kneaded that together until I got my dough. Then I rolled it out to about 1/4 inch thick, cut it into nice little sized pieces, brushed that with olive oil, sprinkled it with some salt and pepper, and that went into a 400-degree oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. So, for the charcuterie, I wanted to show you how to assemble a nice cheese board. So I got 4 different dried meats, cured meats, 4 different cheeses. These are Spanish style, because I'm going to do like a tapas, and then I got some accoutrements to go with that. So to start, I'm going to show the cheeses here. So I like different colors and different textures and flavors. So this is Manchego. It's a hard cheese. It's going to be sharp, kind of like a cheddar. And then what I do, I just like to take my knife and just kind of cut into that. And I like it to be kind of rustic, homemade, so you don't have to cut like perfect uniform pieces. You can kind of come at an angle and get different shards. And then I just do a little to kind of get it started. And then as the night goes on, people can kind of cut more cheese off if they want. You can cut bigger pieces, littler pieces, and just leave it like that. This is Taleggio. So it's a soft cheese, almost like a brie, but not quite as soft. And for that, I just take my little knife, and then you can just kind of cut into this and just get some of that out. And again, like before, I just kind of get it started so people can see what they're supposed to do with it. And then you can leave the rest if you need it for later. And then same thing with the blue cheese. This one is Cambolza, so it's a Spanish style blue cheese. Again, it's kind of soft and creamy, like the Taleggio, but then it has that kind of little tang. And then again, just kind of take a little bit off the front end of this and just kind of let people help themselves too. And then this is a whipped queso. So I took real queso, not like queso dip or like nacho cheese sauce, but actually like the block of queso you can find at the store. And then what I did is I just whipped it up with some of the liquid that it's preserved in. And then it comes off almost like a cream cheese texture. And I added a little salt just to flavor that. And we can put that in the middle here. I like to spread everything out so it's not all in one place. And that's the cheeses. Now for the meats, this is a mezcal and lime sausage. So we'll bring that in front here. And then just come in here. And then if it has like the skin on it, you can kind of open that up and peel it off. And again, just like with the cheeses, I kind of like to leave this in its natural preparation so people can kind of see what it is. And then we'll just cut a few, maybe about a third of the way up on this. All right, so there is that. Then I also got some dried chorizo.
I think the crumbles are...
Because I thought that would add some nice heat. And then again, just like the other sausage, we're just gonna shave about half of this up. And I think we'll come up here toward the top of this. That can sit next to their cheese. And then just place those here. And then this, I've got some Serrano ham. And we can just kind of layer that on itself. And again, you don't have to put the whole thing out right away. You can always add to it later on. And then this is bresaola. It is a dried beef, almost like a carpaccio, how thinly it's sliced. And I'll put that over here on this side. And you can have fun with it if you want to do like little shapes or stack it differently. This is one of those things, it's like a visual before it is flavor. So it's really, you really want to make it inviting and appetizing. All right, then I've got some grapes here, dark red grapes. And I just take a few bunches, doesn't have to be perfect. You can just kind of spread those out. I think I'll do like the edges here. My homemade crackers. So like I showed in the video, I did some different shapes. So some of these I cut into like triangles. I was very rustic with the way I cut these up because I wanted it to look homemade. I wanted you to be able to tell that I didn't just open a box of crackers and dump them on here. And then those I'm just going to spread around this little ramekin of cheese. And people can just kind of help themselves. So I've also got, as some accoutrements, some figs. I like to have fresh fruit. These are dried figs. I'm just going to place a few on here as well, just to give us some more dimension. I just kind of like to nestle everything in. It's like one of those like paint by number kind of things. And we can just kind of like that. I think that should be good. So these are marinated olives, tangerine and chili. And then I'm just going to carefully spin these out. So I thought the citrus would be fun, and it looks really visually beautiful. And these are pitted olives. You can do any kind of olives you like. You want to do black olives, but I wanted to kind of keep with that Spanish theme. And then we'll get some of that marinade in here to really pack that flavor. And then I also got some Marcana almonds. So these are just a really nice flavorful almond. They've been toasted, and they've got a little sea salt. So those are full of flavor. All right, so there's the almonds, there's the olives. I also got, this is a mango habanero pepper jelly. I always like to do some kind of preserve or chutney. Typically I do apricot or plum or whatever I can find, but I thought this looked interesting. It'll add a nice little heat. And I like fruits with cheeses, so that kind of ties into that as well. And there you have it, my appetizer table. I just need to get out my meatballs. I've been reheating them in my crock pot, and then I have a sangria to make, and we'll be ready to feast.
Here we go. I'll put a little bit of vermouth, not a whole lot. We don't want it to overpower the drink. The main ingredient, of course, the vodka. We'll do it 2 count here.
And that's the 1 Mississippi count.
And this delicious tangerine.
The olive brine.
On that, make it dirty. That's right.
And then you just shake it up.
Our glass chilling.
Oh, I like that, because then you just get that little discoloration from the olive brine, and then garnish it.
And of course, put an olive in there.
And that is a dirty martini upgraded. Oh, that looks great.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Yeah. Okay, guys, sangria time. So I got some frozen fruit here. Actually, I may just dump this all out, so it's not as many. So it's pineapple, guava, mango. Looks like there's a little banana in there too. So I thought that would be fun. What I love about sangrias, it's one of those just kind of dump and serve. So this is a white Moscato that I'm starting with. And then I also got this pineapple mango juice. And these I always like to just shake up a little bit in case there's any pulp or anything. And then just pop this open. And again, that's gonna go right in here. And a little triple sec. You can use any kind of flavored like this. This is a orange flavored liqueur. You can make your own simple syrup mixture if you like. This, it's really sweet, so I'm only gonna do about half this bottle. And I'm just gonna kind of eyeball that here. And just so it's not all settled to the bottom and everything like that, I'm just gonna give this a little stir so all those flavors are well incorporated. And I love just the visual of all this frozen fruit in here. So the frozen fruit is going to chill this for us, keep it nice and chill, but it's also going to give us a lot of nice color. And then if anybody wants, they can fish some of the fruit out for their own glass. So before we go too far along, I thought I would come in here and just give myself a little taste of this. Yeah, I like that. The liquor's not too strong. You just get the sweetness of everything, the tart from all the citrus. That's going to go great with all the cheeses and everything else. And now that this is taken care of, I think we can plate everything up. Does this not look appetizing or what? So I'm going to start with the charcuterie stuff. And this is kind of one of those build your own adventure kind of things. So I think I'm going to start with one of my crackers and the spreadable cheese that I made. And then I'm going to take some of this jelly. And that'll be my first bite here. Oh yeah. So that cracker has great texture. It's almost like a shortbread, but savory. That cheese is so soft and creamy. And then you get a little kick from the habanero, but you also get the sweetness from the mango. And let's see, what else can we do here? I think I'm going to try a little of the taleggio. That's the softer cheese. And we'll get some of the ham. And then we'll do a little of this blue cheese. I've never tried this blue cheese before, but I thought it looked interesting, so I wanted to share that with you guys. Oh yeah, okay. So it's creamy. You get just a little, there's a little hint of like a funkiness that makes it interesting. And the dried chorizo. So I don't know if you guys remember Slim Jim. Similar texture, but this is way amped up. And then these bacon wrap dates. I just took some dates and split them open, wrapped them in a hickory smoked bacon for some extra flavor. They roasted in my oven about 375 for about 15 to 20 minutes, just until that fat rendered down and they got nice and crisp. Yeah, what I like about this, sweet and savory. The bacon, it's salty, it's smoky. That date, it's nice and sweet. It's almost like candy, it melts in your mouth. And my little crudité. So this, just some sour cream, some ranch seasoning, and some taco seasoning. Gives you a little zesty ranch. It's the perfect dip for veggies. I use it all the time. And then I did peppers and tomatoes. I wanted some really colorful things there. And I love cherry tomatoes. They're nice and juicy and sweet. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Of course, you all have been waiting for the meatballs. So let's not wait any longer. I'm just gonna cut that open so you can see inside that meatball. It's nice and meaty and juicy. And then I'm gonna get some of that sauce here. Oh yeah. So first, you're immediately hit with the richness. I get the cinnamon, I get the chocolate, I get the tahini, and then, give it a second, that heat finds its way, and it just kind of tingles the taste buds. I don't want it too hot to where it cinches the mouth, but I just wanted that kind of interesting heat there. So, I'm going to finish up here. I do have a dessert that I'm going to pull out. You've seen that already, but you're going to see it again. You guys need room for dessert. I've got cake. This is my churro cake and my toffee cake that I made for my church bake sale, but I'm bringing it to you guys. And you guys already saw this. I'm going to leave you now, but I thank you for joining me as always. Like and subscribe. Hit me up in the comment section. And until next time.